I'm Sandy Winnette, professional psychic and tarot teacher for over 20 years here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and today I'm here with you. Many people have asked me over the years, how can I read cards for myself? Sometimes if you go to get readings quite frequently, you might want to purchase your own set of tarot cards and learn to read the cards for yourself. I read them for myself, and it's not hard to do. It's fun, it's informative, and I can tell you very simply how to do this. We're going to start right now. Any deck of cards that you choose, always follow your gut feeling and your instinct. This is the Rider-Waite deck. The Rider-Waite deck is what I have taught with for many years. I taught at Fun Ed, and I always use the Rider-Waite. But your Conley deck is good, and also a Hanson-Roberts deck is very good. It's a little bit smaller and easier for some ladies to hold in their hands. I use different decks of cards because I get different thoughts and feelings come into my mind. That's what a tarot card reading is. When you're reading with the cards, very simply, I'm going to turn this over for you now, and we're going to cover some myths. Here we have the devil. Oh my goodness. If you haven't read the cards before, and if you're just learning and you want to read for yourself, what a frightening experience. Should you ever go to a reader to have your cards read and this card comes up, that could certainly frighten someone. So if you're going to read for anyone, read for the public, know the meaning of the cards. Have a clear, positive understanding of what each and every card means. The devil card simply represents fear. The fear is an illusion created by man for man to fear. Think of it that way. That's actually a channel from a guide. However, in the cards, if you will take a look at each card is different. And if you'll take a look at this particular one, you'll see a chain holding people together. And the devil represents the fear. Now, we all know that this is simply a card. It can't hurt you. The design, and whoever created the design, is not the devil. It's simply something that we as a culture have used to scare ourselves with. Now, in this particular case, we have two people, a man and a woman, and there's chains around their necks. But if you look carefully, you'll notice that the chains are loose. They simply can take them off and walk away. So when you have the devil card, know that there's something perhaps that you need to walk away from. It's time for a change. Don't hold yourself to a situation that perhaps you have outgrown. Think of the devil card like that. And underneath it, we have the strength. This particular card is a woman holding a lion, petting a lion. And in the woman of strength, it simply means animal instinct, the strength to touch, to care for, to nurture, and the womanly part of each and every human being. And I say womanly part. If you're a man and you're listening to this tape, it means the nurturing part of yourself, the part of you that would help someone else. And you have the strength to do that. And we'll take this one card right here. This is a special card to me. This card is the Magician. And this is a major arcana card, as these are also. Your major arcana cards are all spiritual, and they're going to give you beautiful insight. The Magician has all of the tools on the table. And let's explore the tools. In the tarot card, you have 22 major arcana cards that will represent your spiritual body, and you'll be reading with these. The wand represents work, business, prosperity. The pentacle, which is this little coin right here. Some call it coins in some decks, and some call it a disc. It's called by different things. But it represents business, money, and prosperity. It also can represent knowledge, depending on the cards it's next to. A cup represents love and fulfillment. The sword, very misunderstood sometimes. Some people fear the sword. But the sword, if a person has a sword in their hand, it represents leadership, not necessarily hurting someone. So a lot of it is the interpretation of the person doing the reading. So if you take that into consideration, who you get a reading from is important. Learn to read for yourself. Be a positive reader, an honorable person, always making right decisions, especially if you're reading for someone else, even just for fun. When you first start out reading the cards, it is so simple and easy to realize very, very quickly that you're receiving information every time someone goes, wow, or ooh, because you gave them information. How did you know that? Well, I can tell you right now, with all the students over the years, I'm very aware that the ego can get into play. So I always address that right up front. Let go of the ego. Simply give the information. Never be afraid to tape a reading. If you're being forthright and honest, it's perfectly okay to tape a reading. You have nothing to fear, and your client and yourself as well can benefit from a taped reading. And I would like to give you an example of something. Just the other day, I had a lady call me, and she wanted a private consultation with me. And I told her, I gave her my price and everything. I use an hour and 15 minutes for a private consultation. And I told her, I said, why don't you come and see me at one of the public places? It won't cost you quite as much. And she said, I've never had a psychic tell me that before. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I said, I read out in public, and I will do it at a lesser price in some locations. And then other locations, I have to charge more. Well, the reason that a psychic that's working at different locations, it's not any different than any function, really. What I am charged by a particular location to do an event at or to do readings at, I have to up my prices if those prices are up to me to rent the spot. But I also have places where I don't have to pay very much, and that means I can do the reading a little bit less if it's little 10 and 15-minute readings. Well, she said, no, Sandy, I want to spend time with you. Well, as we began to talk and everything, and she didn't want it to come to any of the public places, and I gave her my fee, I realized she didn't have a car. And so when she told me she didn't have a vehicle for transportation, I said, well, why would you want to come all the way over here, because I'm all the way across town, when you could go to one of the public places? And she said, because I just want to spend time with you because I trust you. In that, I told her that I was going to lower her price $25. I didn't feel justified, morally and ethically, I didn't feel justified in charging her the full price if she had to ride a bus to see me. However, I also told her, I said, now if I have to take you all the way back home, then I'm going to charge you the full price if I'm also going to be your taxi service. And she said, no, I will ride the bus and I transfer. And she did. And I did the reading for her. And at the conclusion of the reading, I taped it and I gave it to her. I became aware of the fact that I was her entertainment, because she really didn't go out and do things. She worked all the time. And she was an older lady, and she liked going to see psychics. And so what I told her is this. I said, you take this tape, and the next time you feel like getting a reading, you just listen to me all over again, and it's not going to cost you anything extra. I said, I want you to practice that for the next few months and see if you can't save some money. So I think your morals and your ethics play a role with each individual client. So if you're going to be a professional reader, that's something I have to say to you. And now we'll move on. The Knight of Cups and all of your knights in the deck. And that's your wands, your pentacles or coins, your swords, and your cups of love. By whatever suit it is, you're automatically going to have kings, queens, and knights and pages. Your kings represent men. Your queens represent women. Your knights represent the younger man, often bringing a message. And your page always represents a younger person bringing you a message. So if you know that simply right off the top, and you're doing a reading for yourself, okay, it's going to make it easier for you to have this information. Always tape your reading. When you read for yourself, it's very important. If you are reading for yourself and laying out your cards, it's too easy for you to try to tell yourself what you want to hear rather than what you are receiving intuitively off your cards. But if you tape it, you don't have to try to remember anything, and you'll be able to read more freely and give a more accurate count of what you see. It's also important that you have a mirror in front of you. If you put a mirror in front of you and you are reading for the person in the mirror, you can separate yourself from yourself in order to do the reading. And that's also very important for a psychic giving herself a private reading. Very often, I walk up to the mirror, because I do not always use the tarot cards when I'm doing a reading. This is something I've taught for years. I started out with it and progressed on to just doing the psychic reading without using any tools other than myself. So very often now, and you might want to try this, I will walk up to the mirror if I feel it. If I feel it in my gut that I need to do a reading for myself, I walk right up to the mirror, point my finger at myself in the mirror, and give the lady in the mirror the reading. Try it. And don't be embarrassed. Never be embarrassed about who and what you are. You might be surprised at all the positive information you can receive. I just picked up the Fool. The Fool is an important card also. And it's, again, a major arcana. And I must tell you, I didn't plan these cards out this way. I simply shuffled them and laid them out. And so far, I've picked up all major arcana cards. And again, it's about a spiritual journey, because the Fool is the first card in the deck. And if you will look at the Fool on this particular card, some would say, don't call me a fool. We're all foolish at times. But it's about knowing what we're doing. So when you see this here, you will find that there is a journey that you're about to take. But know the steps of your journey. You know, it's good to look up and to be positive and happy. But also it's good to know where you're going. We have another major arcana. I'm never amazed, but yet I am. The High Priestess. The High Priestess, again, is a major arcana, and she represents, in her hand, the tarot cards. She represents hidden knowledge. Because you are a psychic, or if you're embarking on this path, and you're going to join me in this path, in this journey, being a psychic doesn't mean that you have all the answers. It means that you're getting fragments and pieces of the puzzle. There will always be things that you may not know fully. And that's okay. I would highly recommend that you meditate. And if you don't know what meditation means, I'm going to give you an example. To meditate on your card very simply means take the High Priestess card, or any card you're attracted to. Look at it, look at all the little details around it. Find yourself a comfortable place and sit back and pretend. Pretending is important to the subconscious mind. Remember, your dream world and your conscious state are very much the same. Are you awake or are you asleep? Or somewhere in between. So very simply, step into the card. I want you to step in to this card. And for just a moment, take that moment and step into this card. Sit next to this person. What thoughts and feelings come into your mind? Because it's giving you hidden knowledge. In giving you hidden knowledge, it's opening doorways for you psychically. Are you willing to receive the knowledge? Simply say yes. I want you to meditate on each and every card of the major arcana cards. If you meditate on one card a day, that's all that's necessary. And you will grow spiritually and intuitively. Your keen awareness and understanding will bring ESP and experiences to you far beyond what you've ever had so far. Use the word keen. Find keen, clear words that trigger into your subconscious mind, and you will grow. Now this is the Ace of Cups. This is a beautiful card. There's a hand with a cup in it, and it overflows. All aces, regardless of the deck, all aces represent a new beginning. So if you were to have a card like this, and the ace was to appear, it would represent that you have a new beginning where love is concerned. But if this card was laid, shall we say, next to the High Priestess, whatever card it's close to would represent a new beginning in love with things that you don't know yet. This is a beautiful symbol. It is the symbol of the star. So very simply look up, my friend, and see the light. See it shine. See it embrace you. And be like the person who is starting all over, giving birth to the self into the psychic world. This is a card of hope. When I see this card, to me this is a card of hope. Highly recommend that you meditate on this card and go into this card and feel yourself walking into this pond of water and see yourself looking at the stars. And of course the stars would be important to me because of my stars that I wear. I'm always with my stars, and they give me hope, and they help me to know who I am and not to forget who I am. And that is the psychic woman that I am and the psychic person that I'm teaching you to be. We have a Queen of Wands. And with the Queen of Wands comes knowledge. You'll see that she has the staff in her hand. And all of these little twigs that are growing out of this would represent she's a leader and she has new opportunities coming with her. So let's just say that we take the Queen of Wands and we put the Knight of Cups next to it. Now we have two people here. We have a young man that is bringing information or a message to a person of business and authority. Now these could be people working together. It also could be a child, it could be a son, it could be a lot of different things. It would depend on all the cards in the deck.